Hello, what's up, everybody? This is Post. We have our Week 5 matchup in the PWC against the Spanish Fort Tauros. Yep, that was a confusing name at first. So as you can see right here, we have our team here. We have a banded, bulky extra drill with obviously Iron Head and Earthquake, but I also have on their X Scissor because he did have access to a Uniclus, and that does two-shot it. It two shots with like a 20% chance to do it. If he's running fully defensive. We also have here a obviously a sub sword stance Palucha. I brought this thing just because if it's kind of like a last ditch effort if because he is Mega Charizard X. If that thing sets up a Dragon Dance or two, there's no way I can basically beat it at that point. I have nothing that can take the hit. I have nothing that can outspeed it except for this thing. If unburdened, that's if he gets up Stealth Rocks and I come in and pop the Citrus Berry and then I'll have unburdened and maybe I can outspeed it, but that's about the only way. Um, we also have here an anti-lead Infernape. He has Liepard and Smeargle, as you can see. These things like to get into shenanigans, especially turn 1 if you lead them off. So this thing has Fake Out, Lumberry, and Close Combat. So no matter what happens, if he would lead off with one of them, I'm just going to Fake Out, Close Combat the Smeargle. If Liepard's there and he tries to T-Wave me, I can, not have to worry about because I have Lumberry. I am so scared of Smeargles all the time because you never know what the fuck they're going to do. And they can really just come out of nowhere, do some crazy shit, and then bounce. And he's not moving back there. Hopefully he's okay. We also have a Mega Aerodactyl. I brought this thing just because it does outspeed Pegazard, so as long as he doesn't set up Dragon Dances, I can one-shot it with Stone Edge from him. We also have here a Scarfed Manaphy. That Hydreigon, as you can see right there, that thing scares me. It always does because it's actually Scarfed, it does a lot of damage. But luckily, Manaphy, I can outspeed him barely with Scarf, because I think it's 98 and Manaphy's base 100. And then I can knock it out with a Dazzling Gleam. It's one of those things that I don't think he would predict that. So if I would at one point get a Manaphy against his Hydreigon, he'd just probably be like, oh, it's fine, I can just U-turn out if I have to, and then I can just hit it with a Dazzling Gleam and one-shot it. Which is kind of my plan to get rid of that thing, because that thing is very annoying to deal with sometimes. Then he also has this, I also have just a specially defensive crest, Toxic, which I did bring Toxic, I usually don't, but this week I needed to bring it because of things like the Cofagrigus. I need to get, if you came in with with his Zard on it, I really needed to get that thing Toxic, and I just need these things dwindled down. As you can see, his team, he has Cofagrigus, he has Smeargle, Zard X, Raikou, Hydreigon, and Seismitoad. I pretty much predicted this team. I really thought he could have Togetic instead of, which I thought he was going to bring over the Seismitoad because I can deal with it pretty nicely with Energy Ball on Manaphy and Grass Knot on Infernape. But once again, I expect him to lead off with Smeargle and try to get some shenanigans out of the way. So I'm going to lead off with my Infernape, which is good because I was correct at that point. At this point, I'm just going to fire off a Fake Out, like my game plan was. He switches out into this thing, which I'm okay with. I have Grass Knot. I can't take it out at this point, but I'm going to do a lot of damage to it. He does have Rocky Helmet, so I am taking a lot of damage here, and he knocks off Lumberry. That's fine. So the only thing the only thing I'm scared of at that point would be again paralyzed from like a Thunderbolt, which I wouldn't take. But I predict him to switch out at that point. So I'm going to Fire Blitz. I was thinking about switching out here, but there's nothing I could have switched into because I didn't want to possibly take a Will-O-Wisp or anything like that. So I'm just going to Fire Blitz again. He switches back in, and hey, one of the annoying mons is down. Because that thing can kind of sit there if it has to. Brings in Spracky. I was just like, I'm going to go into my Dedicate. I wasn't going to bring Extra Drill at a point, but I did decide to. Here's why. I found out after the game this thing is Scarfed to deal with my Scarf Drill. I have 2 switch-ins at this point. One of which, if he goes for Thunderbolt and I switch into Extra Drill, I get a free attack off. If he Auroras here and he goes in here like I did here, and I go into Crest, I get a free damage off on something, which is great because now he has to predict which one am I going out to because you're not going to want to take 0 damage on something. So he switches out into his Comfort Greaves. I figured he was going to switch out into it. I'm just going to Toxic it. That thing's going to get dwindled down. At this point, I'm just going to fire off a couple Moon Blasts. Just kind of get this thing dwindled. I don't really need this thing. It is nice to have, but I would rather get this thing dwindled down so my Hawlucha can actually do and work at some point, or my Drill. Like I said, just going to fire off. He does Pain Split, so I was like, shit. I kind of thought about going into Infernape here, because he does switch out, and he goes into Spherical, which would have been amazing, because that thing, once again, would just switch out. Instead, I'm back up to full health, so I'm like, okay, this isn't bad. He Spores me. If anything on our team, though, would be Sport, I'd rather this thing, because its main purpose is to take hits. So I'm just going to go into Infernape at this point. He sets up an Agility. And here's the shenanigans. I was like, okay, what the hell is he going to do here? I'm just going to fire off Close Combat. I figured he would go out into Coffin, but I did not want to take that risk. So, yeah, like I said, I didn't want to take the risk of him just staying in there and doing, I have no clue what at this point. So I'm just going to stay in Flare Blitz with it, because I know at this point, it'll be taken out by the Toxic. So it's good. So I'm up 5-4 at this, 5-4 at this point. And one of his two bulkiest mons are gone. Which I predict him to go into this, which is great. I was like, okay, I'm just going to fire off Earth. No, I'm going to fire off an Iron Hit. No, it was an Earthquake at this point. I was like, there's nothing that wants to take it except for that Air Balloon Hydrating. I was like, okay, shit. At least he's not scarred, so I'm just going to go right out to that. And he's going to be able to take that U-turn. 14%, that's adorable. So he does go back onto this, and I'm like, shit, I'm going to switch out into my Extra Drill this time. So I figured he'd go for a Thunder move, and not, yep. So at this point, I get off free damage. Sadly, the Megazard and the Air Balloon are still intact, so I can't Earthquake. I'm just going to fire off 9 and get off a decent amount of damage. And once again, I'm just going to go out into, he can take one hit, and I didn't want anything else with taking a hit at this point. Plus, I thought he would Roost Up. So I'm just going to Ancient Power and just, hey, if he switches it into this, I'm completely okay with that. His Air Balloon's popped, and now he can just freely Earthquake or anything. But I do want to switch out into my Crest. I figured he was just going to fire off some sort of attack. So I take 30% from that Draco. That's ridiculous. He's just going to stay in and fire off -2 Dark Pulses, which I'm completely okay with. So eventually I will wake up. Like I said, he needs another 2 hits. Yeah, I still have 2 more hits at this point. So I'm just going to Toxic. I did that just in case he would want to switch out to anything, see how little damage I was doing, and hopefully he could switch out while still asleep. He does not, he stays in. So I'm just going to Moonlight up. I can easily take these for days. Eventually now I can start, I'm just going to fire up 1 Moon Blast and take it out. He does flinch me here though, which, not a big deal, because like I said, I'm still going to be able to live any hit. If he crits me, maybe I won't, but I don't know. He's getting dwindled down, which is nice, and then I'm just going to fire off a Moon Blast this time. And Crest is picking up another 2 kills this week. I don't know how this thing has like 8 kills this year. That's just ridiculous. He goes down to this. I'm like, okay, Spore this again. I want this thing Spore. I don't want Extra Drill, Hawlucha, or anything else that I can actually do damage with. Getting Spored. So I'm going to switch out into Thad at this point. Because I figured he was just going to Agility again. I was just like, at this moment, I realized he was Baton Pass. I was like, oh, shit, okay. So I have to just fire off Surfs. I figured he would go out into, okay, if you Baton Pass out into the Raikou, I was like, okay, that thing is not Scarfed, but it isn't Specs, and he's been switching out, so either he's bluffing Scarf, and now, because you want to go out, give a +2 to a Mon that already outspeeds everything on my team. I was like, okay, so he's just going to go out to his Charizard, so I'm just going to fire off a Surf here. It's going to do a decent amount of damage. I was like, okay, well, at least I'm probably going to be screwed, and I outspeed him. He is a 0 speed investment Megazard. And at that moment, I was like, oh, wow, that is scary. Because that thing is probably bulky, max attack. I didn't know what it wanted to do at that point. All I saw so far was Roost and Dragon Claw. So he's just going to switch out. He did protect me this time. It was an obvious switch in. I should have gone out into the Crest. I'm just going to switch back out because I know he outspeeds me. Into my Crest this time. And take very little damage from it. Just kind of hoping that I'll wake up next turn. I don't. He goes back down to the Smeargle again. So, okay, I know what he's going to do. So at this point, he's going to set up a Agility, and he's going to Baton Pass out. I'm going to go out to my Hawlucha and get up a Freeze Up. At this point, I don't think anything actually wants to take a high jump kick. I said, I'm okay with this. He is letting me set up a free substitute. Um, I did the calcs, and even with my item, acrobatics would take it out if he did not go for boost, if he was scared of me buying this up. So I was like, okay. As you can see by doing 22%. So I'm just going to stay in here. At this point, I didn't want to risk the high jump kick the first time, but this time I was like, okay, I'm just going to go for it. I hit it, thankfully, and it goes back out into his Raikou. So I'm just going to switch back on to Crest. You really can't do anything to me. We'll switch out, going back into Miracle. Okay, whatever. I'm getting a free switch into Escadrille at this point. So it's basically, when this thing comes in, I get a free switch into something, depending on what it wants to be, what I want it to be. Now at this point, Hans comes out. Alright, I'm just going to fire off a Bandit Earthquake. He can't switch out at that point, because the only way for him to win would be with Raikou at this point. And he has to 1v5 me. And I know he can't go for World Sphere, because I can just go into, so he, Crest, so he just Shadow Balls, and then I can fire off an Earthquake, and that is a win. That's a 5-0 win for the Blue Mountain State Gogoats. Game Ball, I don't even know who to give it to, because I would say Crest and Extra Drill, because they just kind of put in work this week again, and crushes wall things and takes it down, and Drill just comes in and nukes at that point with a band. But good game, man. He tried bringing Absolute Heat, which he did, because he told me after the game that was baton pass and agility into Megazord X, and then have that thing belly drum up, which I would have lost immediately, because that is fucking scary. Luckily, he did not get that off, and he couldn't do it. I just kept the pressure on him. But yeah, we are now 3-2 with a plus, I think, 6 differential. So hey, looking up, and we're getting back into the winning ways. All right, so that's what we need to do. We need to win here. So yeah, I'll be back next week at some point with our week 7. No, this is week 5, so week 6. I don't know what I said at the beginning of that game when I said 6. Nope, it's week 5. So I'll see you with my week 6 matchup, and